Hello, remember to thyself be true. Let's go through the closeout for September 2024. So, this is what went on. In terms of source of income, the only addition to my actual, I'm going to use a purple pen to show what my actual is. In terms of income, the only thing that I had is that my husband gave me an amount of 650 rand. So my actual income then became 33588.62 plus 32.75 plus 25.9 plus 650. So my total income became 34,297 rand 27 cents. 34,297.27, and then my fixed expense is the DSTV. It doesn't change, it stays like this. So I'm gonna put it here as 139. So from my total income, if I deduct my fixed expenses of 139, the total remaining is 34,158 rand 27 cents. 34,158.27. So when it comes to my variable expenses, this is how my actual went. So household, I spent 956 rand 67 cents. Taxi, I spent 30 rand for the month of September. And then Gautrain, I spent 731 rand. Bolt, I spent an amount of 133. And then trailer cover, I spent 1,299 rand. Groceries for the month, I spent an amount of 2,545 rand 11 cents. And then meat, I spent 812 rand 71 cents for the month. And then my time bank fees were 9 rand 50 cents. And then my Standard Bank fees amounted to 56 rand 95 cents. And then Capitec Bank fees were 8 rand 50 for the month. And then other variable expenses that are not here, I paid toll gate, which I did not budget for, but I paid 57 rand. And then giving, which I did not budget for, I paid 20 rand. And then customs duty, which I did not budget for, 331 rand 30. So in terms of my actual expenses, it is 956 rand 67 cents plus 30 rand plus 731 rand plus 133 plus 1,299 plus 2,545 rand 11 cents plus 812 rand 71 cents plus 9 rand 50 plus 56 rand 95 plus 8 rand 50 plus 57 rand plus 20 rand plus 331 rand 30. So my variable expenses for the month amounts to, let me fill it here, 6,990 rand 74 cents. So when we take the balance from the fixed expense of 34,158.27 less the 6,990 rand 74 cents. The balance remaining for variable expenses then becomes an amount of 27,167 rand 53 cents. So I owed my husband 569 rand 98, which I paid him. Yes, even in marriage, when we owe each other, we pay each other. Although he gave me 650, so it's like a zero kind of a thing. So when we take the balance from the variable expenses less the debt that I owed my husband is 27,167.53 less 569.98. So let me just put this amount here, my actual debt. So then the balance remaining after deducting the debt then becomes 26,597 rand 55 cents. Then moving right along to my favorite thing, which is then the sinking funds. Here where it says total, I'm gonna put my actual amounts here of what I actually saved. So emergency fund, I actually saved 11,517 rand 5 cents. 29.29 1,000. Holiday fund 100 rand. Christmas fund 350. Valentine 100 rand. Namibia 3,000. Husband's birthday 2,000. Unplanned travel 200. And 52 weeks challenge 1,500. Then another thing is the Capitec Live Better savings, which I don't normally budget for. They just round up based on my bulk transaction. So for the month it was just 2 rand. So in terms of savings for the month, I actually saved 11,517.05 plus 1,000 plus 100 rand plus 350 plus 100 rand plus 3,000 plus 200 plus 200 plus 1,500 plus 2 rand. I actually saved an amount of 17,969 rand 5 cents. So the balance remaining from my debt balance, which was 26,597.55, less my savings of 17,969.05, the balance remaining then becomes 8,628 rand 50 cents. And then in terms of my investments, here on the balance column, I'm just gonna write down what I actually invested. So I actually invested 500, 500, 100, so 1,100. So from my balance remaining from savings into what I invested, it is 8628.5 less 1,100 rand. The balance remaining then is 7,528.50 cents. Then moving along to the last category of personal or fun expenses, this is how my actual went. So in terms of clothing, I actually spent 1,304 43 rand 98 cents. And then gynae I only paid 9.45. This came, I paid 515 rand. And then planners for the following year, I actually spent 1,162 rand 63 cents. Books I spent 635. Personal care I spent 408. And then prescription 33 rand 60. Hair salon 400. Two additional things here is data bundle of 79 rand, which I did not budget for in the beginning of the month. And then the other thing is Pendylane expense of the equipment, which I did not budget for, and was a shortfall of medical aid of 1,436 rand. So personal or fun expenses, I have 1,343 rand 98, and then to that 945 plus 515 plus 1,162 rand 63 cents plus 635 rand plus 408 rand plus 33 rand 60 plus 400 plus 79 rand plus 1,436 rand. So my personal fund expenses actually amounted to 6,958 rand 21 cent. So balance from the investments, which was 7,528 rand 50, to that deduction of the actual amount of 6,958 rand 21 cents, then the balance remaining that I'm going to carry forward is 570 rand 29 cents, which is going to October. So in terms of summary, total income for the month was actually 34 rand 297 rand 27 cents, and then total saved was actually 17,969 rand 5 cents. Total debt was 569.98, invested 1,100, and then total expenses were 139 plus 6,990.74 plus 6,958.21 is 14,087 rand 95 cents. So amount left over that we are going with to October is 34,297 rand 27 cents less 14,087 rand 95 less 17,969 rand 5 cents less 569 rand 98 less 1,100 570.29. So in terms of notes, under budget, over budget, So under budget, I'm gonna highlight in orange. So everything that's under budget, and then over budget, I'm gonna highlight in blue. So in terms of my fixed expense remains fixed. So in terms of my variable expenses, they are actually under budget, and then debt remains the same, and then everything that's over budget is actually my savings. They're over budget, which is a good thing. And then lastly is my personal expenses, which are over budget. So I've already transferred these monthly review amounts from the budget overview, and then here we've been filling it when I was doing my weekly what I spend my money on. So I've tallied everything up. Also here I've tallied everything up from our weekly that we've been doing. And then in terms of where my money went, so in terms of savings and investments, savings, I saved 52% of my September salary. I invested 3% of my salary. Transport 7%, household 3%, food 10%, debt 2%, medical 7%, bank charges 1%, and personal 15%. So that is 100% that I've used in terms of my money, and then not taking into account the 570 that we are taking over to October budget. So in terms of representation, I am gonna add, so every section here represent 5%. So the savings and investment is 53% together. So I'm gonna combine them and highlight 53% of the expenses. So this is my savings and investments. So I spend 55% of my money towards my savings, and then I spent, so transport and household, I'm gonna add them together, 10%. So this will be the transport and household section, which costed 10% for the month of September. And then we've got another 10%, which is food. So food is another 10% here. And then I spent another 10%, which I'm going to combine these three: debt, medical, miscellaneous. So another 10% here of debt, miscellaneous or bank charges, and personal expenses. And then lastly we've got so medical, debt, and the bank charges amount to 10%. Then my personal expenses is 15%, which I don't mind because I can't be frugal with the things that I need for myself. So 15% of my earnings for September went to me. So I'm proud of the 55% of my savings and investments, and I want to carry it on for the rest of the year. Until next time, remember, to thyself be true, and to thy finances be true.